Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for coming out today. So much I could say. Those of you that don't know me, I've been working with, started off working with single black women from 2009-10. And I fell into that accidentally. And I fell into that coming out of a very painful divorce in 2007. And I started to work on myself, and I accidentally fell into the relationship aspect of what I'm doing. I'm going to make it very quick because I've got a lot I want to go over. Just so that some of you know my background, I started having seminars like this, focusing mainly on single black women, because I realised that there was an issue and a problem, and this was brought to me by women themselves. It wasn't me that said, oh yeah, well there's a market, I'm going to jump into it. The women were saying to me, you know, you need to do some events for single black women. And I did an event for women of all races, and about 7 women came up to me and said, you need to do this for black women. Now, can you just picture this? 2009, this happened. I think this was a one-off, and I had to make a decision. Am I going to go on stage and coach about 200 black women on how they can find a man? Think about that. If you didn't know what I do, I had a lot of men who saying to me, you're crazy, because a lot of men are thinking you're good to do that, but I was doing that. I used to have events, it used to be packed, and they were coming there, because what I realised was that with the coaching, what I realised from the coaching is it makes you look at life outside on a different level, but also, most importantly, yourself. Now, those of you that may be single in here, one of the things that I realised is it's not what's going on the outside, it's what's going on in the inside. Anything you want to achieve in your life, who has the answers? You. And what we tend to do is, it's very easy to blame the outside. It's very easy to blame the lack that's out there. There is a lack of opportunities. And one of the things that I realised was that, you know, people are not aware of this. And I know there's some coaches in the room know exactly what I'm talking about. So if I could show people how they can improve their life, even if it's by 10%, or make them look at themselves, that can only be a positive thing, because you are developing yourself. And what I've realised with a lot of the issues in our community is that we don't develop and work on ourselves. And that then filters on down to the children. Does that make sense? I don't want to go into the race thing, but so you understand my history, and I'm very passionate about that. And I started having seminars, workshops, and then people look within themselves. And even just smiling at a man, do you know what that means to him when he sees a woman that's smiling to him? You're giving that man the green light to approach you. Now, some of you may be walking around with stuff going on. You know, you might be thinking about, oh, did I season the chicken last night? Was that for season the chicken? How many of you can't cook, by the way? Everybody in here can cook. So, one of the things that I realised was that when a lot of women want to come to here from a man's perspective, because we're talking to women about men, and it's usually the women that are single, angry, have a lot of issues. So then, why are you speaking to her? And the people to speak to are the people that are walking the talk. Or, for example, so I'm going to go in my tips and say that if you're angry about a particular man and you want some advice or tips, and you have 2 friends that you can speak to, you can go and speak to the friend that's angry, hates men, who's got a bag of issues, or you can speak to the friend that is settled, has a stable relationship, whether she's married or not. She's most probably going to say to you, go and sort it out, look at it from his point of view, a positive solution. Now, depending on the mindset of that woman at that particular time, or how angry she is, she's going to want to choose. She's going to want to choose who to speak to. Now, if she wants to be made right, she's going to go to the one that's angry, because she's the hater. She speaks to the one on the right, she's going to tell her honestly what she needs to do. And what happens is, some women surround themselves with those types of women. But I bet all of you there know what type of woman I'm talking about. And that poisons your mind, that poisons your mind, your perception of men out there in general. Now, the work that I've been doing is, I wasn't focusing on Christian women at all. And I've been trying, I've been receiving emails, phone calls, women that used to come to my events, and they were saying to me, when are you going to do a Christian event? Where's the Christian men? On and on, ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. So I thought, this is years ago, I thought, oh, this is simple because I can easily see what the problem is. So I thought, let me just contact bishops, pastors, all over London. I've got a solution. You got a problem in the churches that these women are not meeting husbands. I can solve the problem. And you know, the only person that believed in what I can do, that took me on board, literally, was the Bishop Tom Miller at the front. Only one. Now, I've spoken to loads. I'm telling you, loads. And there's an organisation, I won't say who, has a very large database of Christians. Large, okay? And I spoke to this person, told him what I'm going to be doing, and I did an event with this person before, and he promoted it because I was doing some stuff with the youths, which was fine. So I told him I was going to be doing this event, but he didn't see the literature promoting this event. So I knew if there was going to be some resistance, I was preparing for it. So I called him, didn't return my call, so eventually I got hold of him. So to cut a long story short, he said to me, oh, some of the people on my database are going to have a problem with this event. So I said to him, well, why is that? Oh, well, it says on there how Christians can meet a believer out of the church. So I said to him, well, that's open to interpretation. That could be somebody in the gym. I don't literally mean in the church, right? So I explained that to him, so that was killed. And then he's looking for another excuse, and there was another excuse, and there was another excuse. So I said to him, I'm providing solutions now. I can guarantee I'm going to be bringing the men to meet these women, and he's still looking for excuses. So I said to him, all right, do me a favour. Go to the website, tell me what you want me to change. If it's upsetting, you may upset some Christians. Come back to me, and I'll amend it, and I'll pay you to promote it. What do you think happened?
Nothing.
I haven't heard from him. All right? I haven't heard from him at all. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but that in itself, if everybody can see that, is a problem in itself there, right? Because his words were, the women should be meeting their husbands in the church. This is what's been said for a lot of churches. Now, when you've got people that keep saying that and applying it on a regular basis, this is what the problem is. This is what the problem is. So today I decided to put this on because there's answers that need to be had, and all of you come here, you're going to learn something, even if it's 1%. Take it along with you. You may go on the train today and you may see a guy and he may just smile at you, and as he said, opportunities. Create as many opportunities as you can out there for you. And I can tell, I mean, I don't go to church every week, but I know that 80% of the women, 88% of the people, women in churches, and there's no men there. So, but it can't just stop there, because you could meet your husband in Sainsbury's on the aisle. You could ask him, excuse me, I'm trying to get some, Christmas is coming up. You could ask him for his opinion on a particular deodorant or aftershave. And I know it's hard, ladies, believe me, but believe me, it's harder for us to approach you. Always remember that, right? We've all, the men in here could vouch that we've all approached you in a public environment and we've been let down such a bad way, I mean, the men in there, hands up from what I'm talking about, was just me, is it? Right? It is not a nice feeling because it knocks our confidence. And then what then happens then, it knocks our confidence, not to the point some of us want to date outside of their race. Because of that. And then get labelled, gets labelled for doing that. So, I just wanted you to see how it is from a man's perspective. It is hard. And some of you, I'm looking at you, and some of you are not smiling even now. And the point I'm saying is not that because you're, how can I put this without getting myself in trouble? I don't want any blogs going out there for me. I think some of you do not know how you are perceived by how you look. Does that make sense? Because you don't. So, if a man sees you, your face could be saying to him, don't even bother to attempt to approach him. But you don't know that. Because you could be just thinking, I've got to do an assignment, or I've got to do something at home, or did I call my mum, or I've got to pick up the kids. And you're in that zone, and you see the guy, and your face is just, and then you carry it on. Or your face could be set a certain way, but you want to meet a man. Does that make sense? Now, the only way you're going to know how you are, you come across, is A, asking other men, honestly, how do I look? Would you approach me? Ask your best girlfriends that can be straight with you. Don't ask the ones that are going to tell you what you want to hear. Because they're not serving you. They're just hitting you back from there as well. So what I decided to do is two things we're going to do. I'm just going to go over some tips. And then we're going to have the girls, I think the bishop and the girls after me, and we're going to have a break. And then I'm going to be announcing solutions to this. Because we could talk and talk and talk and talk without any solutions, nothing's going to happen. So I'm going to be holding an event after Christmas where I'm going to be bringing the men to meet the single women, because there's nobody doing it in the churches. There's nobody doing it in the Christian community. And what's happening is everything just stays. If nothing happens, everything's going to be the same. Nothing's going to happen. 10 years, you're going to be the same problem. And unless things change, it's going to be the same. And my goal is to create as many weddings as I can next year, because I know what needs to happen is, if you have the similar types of people in a similar environment, opportunities are going to happen. It's the same thing if it's business. And it's the same thing if you've got single men and single women in the same environment, things are going to happen. Now, I know for a fact, by talking to the bishop, that if that happens, weddings are going to happen. It's going to happen. So January, if there's 6 people that meet and they connect, boom, they have counselling, wedding's going to happen that year. Simple. So the only way that's going to happen is if you guys are here and other people are here. Does that make sense? Right, so before I'm going to start, everybody just stand up, because there's some still vexed up looking people in there. Yeah, right. Now, thank you all for coming, and also, but what I want to do is just get everybody warmed up before I start my presentation. I want you to walk around the room and introduce yourself. Just say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and where I come from, to 5 people you don't know. Go. Okay, everybody warmed up now? I saw some serious looking people in there. Now, what I've been doing is, some people have been attending my events, some people have been attending my webinars, some people follow me on Facebook. There's hands up, some of you have never heard of me before. Where you been? Where you been? No, I'm only joking. Nice to meet you, okay? So the rest, obviously, has been to seminars or whatever. I'm holding a webinar, by the way, around about the end of the year or January. It's a free webinar. You just log in on 12 weeks, and you can find Right Man in 12 weeks as well. So I'll put your details up for money for that. 12 weeks, maybe 11, but 12. Some of these tips I'm going to go over 7 tips, okay? Some of it may not apply to you. Some of it you may like. Some of it you may not like. Some of it you may just think, no, only serve. just focus on what applies to you, because everyone's different, okay? Please. And what I've been using for this words. Right, so tip number 1. Why do people choose the wrong partners? As the 2 gentlemen before me have said, a lot of people rely on church and less active. And what I mean by less active, you're not doing anything else outside of that. Does that make sense? You're just doing, plodding along, and it's leaving on that. Now, honestly, those of you that are single in the room, how much, let's look at, put it on a scale of 0 to 10, honestly. Hands up those of you are giving yourself more than 4 out of 10 to really find the right partner. Honestly. You're doing more. How much more?
I have done. Not less.
Now, well, talking about the past, are we? If it's worked in the past, you married up and, but you know what I mean, right? Honestly, and I'm not being funny, but so is it fair to say that you need to do more? Yeah? It's coming up to the end of the year, right? So please, January the 1st, just do a bit more, because I'm assuming you only want one man. Yeah? Some of you want 2 or 3, it's alright. But on a serious note, seriously, just focus on one more thing that you can do, right? So you're not taking advantage of opportunities. Is it fair to say there are opportunities out there for you? Honestly, who doesn't think there's opportunities out there for you? Yeah? So much more you can do. And it's not your number 1 priority. It is, but it isn't. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? I did a talk at a business expo last week. And let me ask you this. What's more important to you? Being financially secure? So imagine you've got all the money in the car and the house, or having the right relationship. Before I answer that, hands up those of you if it's about more important to you to have the financial security. Hands up those of you if it's the financial security. Right. So I'm assuming everybody's focus is the main thing is the relationship, yeah?
Yes.
Right. I guarantee this now, answer this question, that you give more to your career than to the relationship, but your number 1 priority is what? The relationship. Does that make sense? So then, why do you expect to have the right relationship where you're giving your career 100% and you're giving your relationship 10%? Just think about that one. Everybody asks that question to, the majority say the relationship. Because the relationship is everything. You can't be coming home to someone that's got your back. And as a man, you can't be coming home to a wife, a woman, that you know when you come in, you got your food, you got the house is clean and the children's there. You cannot put a price on that as a man coming home. And I know for a fact that women can't put a price on having a man that protects and provides for you and looks after you like a queen. You can't put a price on that. No matter what. So relationships come from everything because you have more energy, you're more focused, you're more happier, you're more perceptive to opportunities, and you come together as one. But our focus isn't on that. Does that make sense? That's why when I used to do some of my events, we started focusing on the person.
Do we get this in a handout?
It's only tip 1. Who was that? Who asked for that? Sorry. I can do. It's been recorded anyway. This is being recorded, so don't worry. Who wants a copy of these tips? Just 2? Okay. Right. I'll get that sorted. Don't worry. So why people choose the wrong partners? They're less active, not taking opportunities, giving up hope, do not know what they want, and there's no plan in place. Okay? How many have a plan in place? If you lost your job today, would you have a plan in place that day? And some of us are needy. So we've all been there, including myself, where we've chosen the wrong partner. How many of you chosen the wrong partner? And how many of you stayed in that relationship knowing you should have run so quick you would have put a hamstring? Right? But here's the question. Why did you stay there? Think about that. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, why did you stay there? And we've all been there, even myself. Wrong relationship for the wrong reasons, because when you're needy, picture this, when you're hungry, okay? And we all have cravings, and you know that you shouldn't eat chocolate and sweets and all that kind of stuff. But you know that time when you're hungry, you're needy, you just need some glucose? Pick up a Mars bar or Snickers, and that's how you feel. And you know it's not good for you. And the same thing applies when you're seeing someone. Because you're in your mind, I'm needy, and it fills that little gap in my life. But deep down, you know. And as you all know, the worst thing is coming home to someone, waking up with someone that you know you shouldn't be with. Who's been there? Just me. I get real. Believe me, I get real. So I'm not going to beat around the bush with this, but it's true. How to let go of past pain work positively on any issues you may have, enabling you to have a loving and stress-free relationship. How many of you in here do not have any issues? Do you want to come on stage? Do you want to? No, I'm only joking. So, it's fair to say we have some form of issues, yeah? So, is it fair to say that we take those issues with us to relationship? Yeah? We will do it. Are you aware of it? And are you working on that area? Whatever it is, you don't have to tell me what it is. Actually, what's yours? I'm only joking. Don't tell me your business. But work on yourself, okay? It's so important. Another way you can identify that is ask your last partners, if it's the 1, 2, or 3, if you was to ask them what they really disliked about you, or what you thought they disliked about you, that will be a pattern there that you have. Does that make sense? Has this hindered your progress in life? Because it will. Whatever issue you've got, it's going to hinder you. Whatever it is. I'll give you an example. One of the issues that I used to have was that I was very spoiled growing up. I was spoiled with my mum and my sister, Jamaican, so I didn't do anything. I'd walk in there, bang, tea on the table, bang, oxtail soup, bang, cornmeal porridge. Brought to me. So, my mum used to say to me that we broke your badge. I didn't know what that meant growing up, right? But what they were saying to me is, when I'm going to be growing up, as a man, I only have that reference. Does that make sense? Yeah. That reference of being spoiled. So when I've been meeting other women, I'm comparing them to that. Actually, what do you mean you can't cook? Next. But I didn't realise that. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I was then, my mum was saying to me, well, whoever ends up with yourself has to be a certain type of a woman. I didn't know what she meant until now. I was going through what I was going through. Now, with yourself, as a child growing up, see, especially the women, with your daddy, if some of you got issues with your daddy, you need to sort that out, because you can carry that into your relationship with the men. Not so much the mummy issue, but the daddy. And there's a lot of women that are having problems with that hate their dad, or they've got unresolved issues with their dad, especially if he passes away and they don't get a chance to deal with it. Anything that men that they have in a relationship in the future triggers something with their dad, he's finished. Does that make sense? Yeah? So whatever it is, you need to deal with it. And I know it can be fearful, and I know it's frightening, but if you can't be honest with yourself, then you can't be honest with anybody else. Yeah? Therapy, reading, coaching, there's a professional qualified counsellor in the front here. But what small thing could you help with yourself? And be honest with yourself. Does that make sense? Because these tips are not all about you getting out there and meeting him, because you can get out there and meet men all day long. But if you are not ready, it's not going to happen. How many times have you met somebody and they didn't call you after you met them and you thought it was going alright? For whatever reason, they didn't call you. If you've got issues and you meet a man that's clued up, he's going to see that a mile off. just by certain questions. And the thing is, I've got this down to the T where I know I could ask a woman 2 or 3 questions, and based on her answers, I will be able to suss her out. Some of you in the room know I'm talking about as well. But that's because I've been working on myself and I'm knowing. That's why when I'm working with women, I tell them what they need to look for when they meet the men. That's why a lot of guys don't like what I do. Because they're meeting, the woman's got a plan which is meeting me face to face. The thing is, you need to prepare yourself on these dates. On a serious note, it's not about turning up and looking pretty. What do you want to know about him? You know? Find out what his relationship like with his mum and his children. Do you love your mum? If he's tearing his mum to pieces, run a mile. Does that make sense? But they're the kind of questions you need to ask in the early stages to establish. Because we've all been there, we've met someone, slept with them or whatever we've done, and then we look back and think, why did I go there? And the signs were usually there in the beginning, and we chose to ignore them. And what we do is we minimize the importance of them. Especially if you haven't been with anybody for a while. Because that person seems so attractive if you haven't seen anybody for ages. Yeah? We meet someone and we all meet someone and we start going to our mind, well maybe he or she's the one. Well, maybe yeah. But we all do it and it's natural. If that makes sense. The 2 tips alright so far? Yep? Nobody wants copies now? How to find out from the first date whether or not this person is right for you. And learning which questions to ask and learn how to really listen to what the other person is saying. What one question would you really want to know on that first date? The women here that are single, you're on a date with a man and he's sitting in front of you. What would be the one question that you really want to know? Turn to the person next to you and tell them what you really want to know. 30 seconds. 10 seconds. Okay. Right. Whatever that question, this is one I do when I work with clients. Whatever that question that you really wanted to know, the number one, you haven't got to answer this out loud. The 2 questions I usually ask. Why is that question so important to you? Right? And where has it come from? Just think about that now. You haven't got to say anything, but just think about that. Because you may change when you ask him that. That's quite a good question, isn't it? I have a short memory span, you do that. Why is that question so important to you? What you want to find out about that partner? And where has it come from? What's the root of that? And I guarantee you, something could come up and you'll think, wow, it was linked with that. And it may not even be with that. What are the 3 top things you would like to know? And why are they so important? What you would need to do then is write them out in 3 different ways. Okay? 3 different ways, instead of just one way. Choose the top one, that really stands out. And repeat this for each question. So what you're doing is you're preparing yourself for when you go on that date. To find out whether this man or woman, some guys in here, whether they match your values, your beliefs, and your goals in life. One key question that you could ask is, what are your goals in the next 3 years? Because that will tell you in itself. If he says he wants to get married and settle down, bang. If he says I just want to travel the world with my friends and have some fun, then you know he doesn't want to get married if you want to get married. Does that make sense? So ask him where does he see himself in 3 years? Where would he like to be? And make them as subtle as possible and start to say them out loud to yourself and in the mirror. So you're training yourself to prepare yourself for that. So important. I'm going to go over these quickly. How you can do more. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much effort have you really given yourself? I've asked you that before. Why is it not a 10 out of 10? Why is it not a 10 out of 10? If someone said to you, find the right man in the next month, I'm going to kill you, you'd find him, wouldn't you? Right. Let's say it's a 3 out of 10. What would a 10 out of 10 look like to you? On a serious note, if you left there today and you want to give yourself 100%, what would that look like? Does it mean every man you see that you like the look of, you ask him the time? Or give him a compliment? You know if you gave yourself 100% from today onwards, and you gave it all without any fear, without any association with nothing in the past, do you really think you'd be single in the next 30 days, for argument's sake? I'm talking about all the opportunities that are out there. From, if you see, how many times ladies, honestly, how many times have you seen a man and you like him and you just wish that he'd even ask you the time or approached you? How many of you, honestly, and you've seen him? Just 3, okay, cool. I love the honesty in this room. So, therefore, just take advantage of one of those opportunities, because he might be just so shy and just needs a little opening. Because believe me, if you don't, the next woman will. Yeah? And then you're going to say, can't find no man out there. Or the guys can't say women out there. So why are you not doing it anymore? Do you need a little guidance? And what are you afraid of? What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm not saying to you to jump up and stick your tongue down his throat. Well, no, I'm not. But just create an opportunity. What one small thing could you do to help towards number 10? So if it's a 2, what one thing could you do as a 3? Think about it. One small thing. It might be something simple as just sending a guy a Facebook request or commenting on one of his posts. Simple things like that. So where all the good single focused people hang out? There are Christian groups, events, this website called Meetup. How many of you are Meetup? Just 3. Right, 4. Now, there are groups in there, professionals, Christians, singles. It's free. And they have events, and you can go and connect with people on there. You meet groups of people with shared interests by planning meetings and forming offline clubs in local communities around the world, and it's free to join. Check it out. Free to join, you join it up, and then you possibly just see groups. Let's say, for example, some of you might be interested in, I don't know, rock climbing, for argument's sake, or knitting or cooking. There'll be a cooking group in there. You see all the people that are on there, and you can message them and connect with them. Who's to say one of them could be your husband there waiting for you, or wife as well? But that is creating an opportunity. Surround yourself with those who are living the life you want to live, which I covered on before. Avoid negative friends, seek advice from those who are married or in serious long-term relationships. Don't be afraid to admit you're single. You know, I could say in here, how many hands are those of you who are single? And some of you think, I'm not putting my hand up, maybe I'm single. Shame, I'm not going to put my hand up, I'm single. You can put your hand up if you're single, and there's your future husband behind you seeing your hand up. And he then knows that you're single. He's more likely to come and approach you. Hands up, those are manager. Right, the 7. How to create an action plan to find the right partner quickly. I need to drop, see that? Careful.
Yeah, no idea.
Hoping and praying for the right partner can be helpful, but you can always take proactive steps today to make changes in your life to help make that new relationship a reality. Believe you will meet the right partner. First thing, you must believe, because if you don't believe you're going to meet him or her, you're going to act out that you don't want to meet him, you're not interested. But keep believing that. How many of you believed in something and you really strongly believed in it and it happened for you? Right. There you go. Join groups that you're interested in. Business events. Attend events where your type of partner will be. I'm always attending seminars. I'm always attending personal development events, business events, growth events, because I believe in always learning and developing myself. Because every time I speak, if I find something new, I bring it into my presentation. And some of you that have seen me present before always come and say to me, your presentation is better than the last one because I keep on working on myself and developing myself. Nicole. So it's all about learning and developing yourself and thinking outside of the box as well. I have 2 minutes left. Attend dating events where singles attend. The men are single, they're saying we want to meet someone like you, and some of you are afraid of attending these events. Now let's look at this fear for the minute. What are you afraid of, honestly? Think about it. Do you not realise that some... I used to say, when I used to do some singles events, and I've got a couple of minutes before I wrap up, and I used to get women saying to me that I'm not coming to that event, I'm not desperate, right? With the head as well, I can't do it, but why do they do that? It's attitude, is that what it is? We love that. When we see a woman doing that, that is just telling us there's nowhere on this earth I won't even talk to you. So those of you that neck problems, sort it out. Osteopath or what you need to do, get it clicked in or whatever. But on a serious note, they used to say that. But those women used to say that used to go to the same rave, dance, week in, week out, pick up the same type of man that's giving them the same problems, and I'm organising a professional event where single men are coming to meet you and they're putting that down. Now the only way I can look at that before I wrap up is fear. They're petrified of coming for whatever reasons within themselves. Does that make sense? I know some of you in there thinking, I told you that. And keep smiling. It's so important to keep smiling. And you look so much more beautiful and attractive when you keep smiling. Thank you for your time. I hope that was helpful. I'll get the tips sent to you, so no problem, okay? Thank you very much. I'll come back a bit later. Thank you.